Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my current everyday makeup routine. This is a look that I've been doing whenever I don't want to spend more than 15 to 20 minutes, but I still want to look put together. I've been using some newer products as well as some older favorites, so let's go ahead and get into it. Look at this really cute mug that I got at Target recently. This was only like $3 and I've been using it every single day because I want to get into the Christmas spirit. So I have not been using any sort of primer for an everyday makeup look. I feel like it just isn't really necessary, especially since I'm not going in with a ton of makeup and my base products are overall very light. So I'm going to be using the Covergirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence, and I don't think I've used this one in a video, but this one has been a go-to for me whenever I'm doing a really quick makeup look because it's just so effortless to use. I really wasn't sure if I was gonna like this when I first picked it up, but I was very curious and I'm glad that I tried it because I absolutely love it now. So I'm gonna take about a pump and a half onto the back of my hand, and I like to pre-mix it before I apply it to my skin. And this is in the shade medium, by the way. It does look a little bit strange when you first mix it. Like, it might not look like it's completely mixed, but once I apply it to my face, I feel like it looks really natural and it gives a really pretty glow to the skin. So I just like applying it with my fingers, kind of like a lotion. I have tried blending this out with a brush, but I really don't feel like it's necessary. The warmth of my fingertips kind of breaks down the product and it makes it look more natural. So once I've done most of the blending with my fingertips, I do like to go over it with my sponge to really press the product in. And I do get very sheer coverage, but I am going to be using concealer to add more coverage in certain areas. And I've been back to using the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. This is such a good concealer. I used to have it, but then I decluttered it because the shades that I had were very old. So I picked up a new one. This is in the shade 15 Light. So I'm gonna take my BK Beauty N14 brush. This concealer wears a really long time on me, and I would say this has medium coverage. I haven't noticed it creasing either, which is so rare when it comes to concealers for me. I feel like most of them end up creasing on me, and I think I like this one more than the Instant Age Rewind concealer, which I also like, but now that I've been back to using this one, I think I like this one more because I like the coverage that it gives, and it just looks more natural on my under eyes. So I've been loving this one. I'm really glad that I picked it up again. And then to spot conceal in certain areas, I'm going to take my Makeup Forever Ultra HD Self-Setting Concealer. So I'm going to add this to any areas where I want a little bit more coverage. So my cheeks, and I'll put some on my smile lines. I'm also going to use it as eyeshadow primer. And then adding a tiny bit of the shade 30.5 right over top. And I'm also going to add some right here to brighten. And then taking my N14 brush, I'm just gonna blend that out. This just gives a little bit more coverage. It's not a full coverage concealer, but I feel like it gives enough. And whenever I'm doing quicker makeup looks, I do like to use concealer as eyeshadow primer. Even though I love my Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer, I like to just take whatever concealer I'm using and use that instead. So I'm just going over all of the concealer with my sponge. My lips are feeling super dry right now, so I'm going to take some of my Tower 28 Lip Softy in the shade Dulce de Leche. This isn't a favorite or anything, but I have been trying to use it up. I just wish it were a little bit thicker. Like, I do like it, but it's not as long lasting as some of my other lip masks and lip balms because it is on the thinner side, but it does a decent job. For bronzer, I'm going to be using the Makeup by Mario SoftSculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, and this one is in the shade Light Medium. I've actually really been enjoying this product. I didn't really know how I felt about it after I first tried it. I felt like it was just a little bit too balmy and sticky when I first tried it, but I noticed that it did dry down eventually, so I've actually really been liking it, and I feel like it's just a very quick and easy product to use, and it's actually not quite as sheer as I was expecting, so it does give more pigment than I thought it would, and I do really like the way that it looks on my skin. It just looks very seamless and natural. But look at how quick and easily that blends. It's just such an easy product to use. I'm going to take some onto the sides of my nose. And taking my sponge and pressing over any areas that I want to blend out a little bit more. For blush, I'm going to apply the Huda Beauty Blush Filter in the shade Latte. And this one I've also really been enjoying. I picked this up during the Sephora Savings event, and I just like how easily this blends out. The shade is really pretty as well. It's a really pretty terracotta with a hint of brown. So I'm just going to apply a couple of dots on each cheek. And I'm going to blend it out with this Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Blush Brush, which I've also been loving. It blends out the blush so easily. Look at how pretty that is. This blush and bronzer combo has been my go-to lately. I'm going to go ahead and set my under eyes with the e.l.f. Prime and Stay Finishing Powder in the shade Fair/Light. So pressing that onto my under eyes. And then to set the rest of my face, I'm going to take the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Pressed Face Powder. I do like that this one gives more coverage, especially since I'm using a sheer tinted moisturizer product. And even though I have been using this powder consistently, I wouldn't say that it's a favorite. Honestly, I don't really have a favorite pressed powder. I just tend to reach for loose powders a lot more. But when I'm doing a quick makeup look, I do like to use a pressed powder. It's just a lot more convenient. And this one is decent. Again, not a favorite, but it does give some coverage. It mattifies nicely. My eyelids did already crease, so I'm just gonna tap that out with my finger. And I'm actually gonna go over that with a little bit of powder. So taking some of that pressed powder and applying that onto my crease and up to my brow bone. And taking my e.l.f. Wow Brow Gel in the shade Deep Brown. I don't really use a brow pencil when I'm doing a quick makeup look. I feel like a brow gel is enough for me. And this one, of course, is a favorite. Okay, time for some eyeshadow. I do like to rotate through my eyeshadow palettes. And right now I've been using the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm palette because this is one of the newer palettes in my collection. And it's just a really nice go-to warm eyeshadow palette for everyday looks. Now I will say I was pretty disappointed in the Trio Chrome in the palette. It just wasn't as intense as I thought it would be. So this one right here, this one is called Phenomenon. I've used it a couple of times off camera and it's not as punchy as I wanted it to be. But besides that, I love the shimmers, I love the mattes, and it's just a really nice warm eyeshadow palette. So I can't really complain about it, but it's not necessarily a favorite for me, at least not yet. I've been doing pretty much the same look with this palette. I kind of just switch up the shimmer, just depending on what I want to do that day. But as far as the mattes, I've been mixing Mellow and Ripe and blending that into the crease. By the way, I'm filming this the day before Thanksgiving, so I'm filming this on Wednesday, and I do have a couple of things to prepare today. I'm going to be making 2 or maybe 3 of the casseroles because I don't want to have to do everything tomorrow, and I honestly don't think I would have time to do everything. I would have to get up super early, which, knowing me, that's not going to happen. So I'm going to be making the sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole, and I'll have to see what else I make today, but let me know what you guys are doing if you celebrate Thanksgiving. We are having family over, which we don't have a lot of family here in Georgia. It's usually just my family and my husband's family, so that is who is coming over this year. But I'm keeping it pretty simple. I'm just doing some casseroles. I'm making tofurkeys as well. We love tofurkeys in this family. I did used to be vegan and my husband was as well, but we aren't anymore. But we still like to make them every year. And then we're also having turkey. So pretty much the traditional Thanksgiving recipes. But I would love to know, what are you guys making for Thanksgiving if you celebrate it? I'm going to take the shade Fervor to deepen up the outer corner. And then I'm also going to take the shade Vim and I'm going to place that right over top. And then taking that fluffy blending brush and buffing over the crease. For the lid, I'm going to take the shade Dynamism, and I'm just going to apply that with my finger. This is such a pretty gold metallic, and I feel like it has a lot of dimension, even though it is a gold shimmer. And then buffing out the crease again with my fluffy blending brush. I'm going to mix Mellow and Ripe and apply that onto the lower lash line. I'm also going to take Fervor. And then using a pencil brush, I'm going to take the shade Vim, and I'm going to press that onto the outer portion. I do want to add an inner corner highlight, so I'm going to mix Fancy and Elm. So applying that with a pencil brush. I'm going to add a darker shadow to my upper lash line. So I'm going to take Pep, which is this one right here, and I'm just going to press that onto my upper lash line, really close to my lashes. I know this eyeshadow look might seem a little excessive for a quick everyday makeup look, but honestly for me, this is not too much, and it doesn't take me that long to do, maybe like 5 minutes in total. I do want to add some more bronzer, so I'm going to take the one from the Hourglass Evil Eye palette. This has been one of my go-to palettes for everyday looks, so I'm going to take the bronzer in the palette. I love pairing this one with the Makeup by Mario one, because this one has more of a luminous finish, and especially once I apply powder, I feel like the bronzer that I added is not quite as obvious, so I do like to go back over it with a powder bronzer. I'm also going to mix these two blushes right here and applying that onto the cheeks. I'm not trying to add a ton of blush, I just want a little bit more color, and I love that these blushes are glowy. Before I go in with mascara, I'm going to take the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is in the Mini White Tea of Bali scent. And then for mascara, I'm going to apply the Rare Beauty Perfect Strokes Mascara. I almost forgot this step, but I am going to tightline with the Milani Stay Put Eyeliner in the shade Semi Sweet. And this is a dark brown eyeliner. That always feels super uncomfortable, but I love the effect that it gives. I'm going to line my lips with the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Anywhere Caffeine. I don't always wear the same lip liner, but I feel like this one I've been reaching for more consistently lately. It just goes with so many different looks. I'm also slightly filling in my lips with that, and I'm just going to blend that with my finger to soften out the edges. But this is just the perfect everyday lip liner for me. And then I'm going to top it with this Haus PhD Hybrid Lip Glaze in the shade Honey Shimmer. And this one I believe is limited edition, but it is available in a set. It came with the shade Persimmon, which I've also been loving, but I don't want to do anything too red on my lips today. This is a really pretty light red. So I'm taking the shade Honey Shimmer. I really hope they make this permanent. It's just the perfect peachy nude shimmery gloss. Very comfortable and hydrating. I don't really feel like I need a lip balm with this or a lip mask. Alright guys, so that is it for my current everyday makeup look. This is a look that I've been doing lately whenever I want to look put together but not spend too much time on my makeup. I really hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!